Did you know that washing your car at home can waste up to 100 gallons of water? What if I told you we could give you the best car wash and use less than 16 ounces of water? ProntoWash is the #1 car wash company in the world. At ProntoWash, our primary goal is to ensure that maintaining a clean vehicle isn't an inconvenience. We provide full-service hand car washing and professional vehicle detailing designed to fit any budget. Our unique waterless cleaning process uses a proprietary blend of eco-friendly biodegradable solutions to safely and effectively remove dirt and grime from your vehicle surfaces without ever scratching, leaving a beautiful showroom shine. ProntoWash, good for your vehicle, good for the planet.
Hello there and welcome. My name is Jonathan Munsell. I'm the chairman and CEO for ProntoWash, the largest hand car washing and detailing company in the world. And the following is a presentation that we recently did for Hines in Houston, Texas at their world headquarters. And it's kind of a fun group and you'll hear lots of laughing and play, and we enjoyed ourselves. But at the end of the day, it's a great presentation to get a really good overview of what we actually deliver in the most current packaging of what we really do. And at the end, there's a Q&A that kind of rounds out a whole lot of questions that I think people have when they're thinking about the brand or utilizing us as a company.
It's copyright, I guess. Don't take my stuff.
Got it. Got it.
So, quick overview. When we talk about being eco-friendly, it's one of our core values. And we were joking around earlier. People refer to a waterless car wash, and it's kind of taboo, even in my world. We're not waterless. There's water in the product at some level. But the beauty is that there's no water that you guys have to worry about. Imagine the scenario where you have a building, beautiful building, and you have lots and lots of tenants, and people can come to work and they're able to come in, they want to have a car wash. They see that today's their car wash day. They can seamlessly drop their keys, schedule an appointment, go off about their day, and they can come in at 7 o'clock in the morning. And before even anybody's really here, they can go up to their office, and all of a sudden our technicians get notified. They come get their keys out of a secure system, go clean their car, return the keys, and they're in a meeting like this, trying to fight with technology. And they get a buzz on their phone right at that moment. That's when we get it. When it says that your car's clean, when you get a chance, please rate and pay. At the end of the day, you go and leave the building, you go to that spot to get your keys, you grab your keys, you go to your car, and we want you to look at it in the daylight and make sure it's perfect. And you have 48 hours to rate and pay for the service, and boom, you go about your day. It's really one of the primary goals of the company is really to be as convenient as humanly possible. We don't believe that a car wash should be an inconvenience on any level. And it's just one of those things that you take your clothes to the dry cleaner, it's like drop, pick up. Same thing for car washing. We don't want you to have to think about it. You should be able to get it in our world anywhere and everywhere you want it, whether that's at home, at work, if you live in a residential building or a corporate building that you're working in, it doesn't matter. There's a few core things that I always talk about. For you guys, it's a zero cost, convenient amenity, right? And we do it at a professional level like nobody else. Eco-friendly, we talk about a couple different points. There's no runoff. We use the most economic vehicles and systems that we possibly can. We're even trying to get to a carbon neutral footprint. We focus on it. You'll see a little bit about ESG as we go. It's super easy to schedule, track, and pay. You can do it on an app, web, you can call. We have live customer service from 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You have this wide gap of live people, which is unheard of. Imagine you call and talk to somebody these days. We make it super easy. And there's a reason for that, because when people are booking a certain service that gets over a dollar amount, like you were talking about the base level service being $29, when people are looking at those services that are $129, $229, they just like to know what they're getting and make sure that service is going to apply to them. We have trained professionals, and we kind of took it out of the hands of the operators that may not be the best at articulating that, and we have it done by professionals in a centralized office that can do that. And these are the same centralized office that are communicating with them any way that they communicate to us. You just have this really seamless customer experience. My background is I'm a Ritz-Carlton guy. I believe in this like super high level of ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. We often talk about you were talking about the $29 service. Well, one of the things that we do is we always have a pricing structure that actually allows your buildings and your tenants to get a discount on their day. We actually drive usually towards a day. This building might be Tuesday. If this is a big building, it might be more, but I'm saying primarily it's Tuesday. Well, they book on Tuesday on car wash day. They get $10 off anything under 100 and $20 off anything over 100. It becomes very economical. It makes it easier for people. And that's really because of experience, but it's really about the economy of scale. We want to clean as many cars as we can on the day that we're supposed to be here. And we find that as an amenity, when you offer it 7 days a week or 5 days a week, it doesn't really work. When people can always have it, they don't use it. It's great. I don't know why, but that's how it is. And then it's just super simple and easy. When you guys see the interface, you can go on ProntoWash.com. You put in your location. Every one of your buildings will have its own location base. They all get tagged back to that. Next time they come in, it knows their locations. All that stuff gets built on our end. We have great IT. We own our own tech stack. We are able to really do different things and interface differently than other companies. We take care of all of that for every single building that we ever launch. And then we have a whole launch process that we follow to make sure we check all the boxes and it gets done really right and professional for you guys. We talk about the environmental side of our company. The social side of our company is about being responsible to our investors, our employees, our customers, and we want everybody in the world to just have a better life. You'll see a lot of that in what we do, but we talk about governance as well. We're a very transparent company. When it comes to reporting and things like that, you guys will get whatever you want. I can tell you how many people did a service, what they rated. And we like that because it holds us accountable, but it also gives you guys some data to use. And a lot of times you don't have that data. You don't know what's happening in the car wash in your building. Yeah. It seems like it's going well. I haven't heard anybody complain this week. Yeah, right. Those are like pretty primary, but those are all the different components that we always are like focused on. One of the things that's interesting about ProntoWash is that the road to ProntoWash is longer than most. We were founded actually in the 90s. We actually started franchising in 2001 was the first franchise. The company's been around a long time. It was actually started in Argentina. And there's some funny video. I just posted a Throwback Thursday video from 2004 CNN. But it's funny when you see the guys on it. They look the same, but just the hair is darker. And it was funny because one of the things they were talking about way back then was so ProntoWash started as a mobile company, but they used mobile carts at malls. So if you went to a mall in Argentina or Latin America, you could just give somebody some cash, they would go and clean your car. And they had these weird egg-looking carts. Any of us that are old enough to remember Mork and Mindy, that's what it reminded me of. They just had this neat thing. And when these guys were talking about it on the CNN thing, I'm like, oh my God, we've come full circle on the mobile thing. Because what happened when they came to the United States, the property management companies and the Simon Properties of the world, they didn't want people roaming around their malls and the parking lots, potentially getting run over. So it became a liability issue. In the US, when you look at us and you look at, we have a lot of locations, they're all mall-based or airport-based, but they're all usually fixed sites as opposed to this roaming around model. When you have the right insurance and the right people, and we're working out a little bit larger vehicle, we can roam around again, which is nice. So it's gone through this evolution in time and change. And fortunately, I was able to actually come into the company. Originally, I had built the world's first on-demand mobile car wash called Spiffy, and you guys may have seen it or heard of it. It's pretty large these days, $60 million company, and it's national. It's the only other national player that there is. Their focus, though, now is way more onto fleet. They focus a lot more on the economics on the fleet side, where I like what we're doing, and ultimately we'll focus somewhat on fleet, but primarily right now for us, it's growing in the cities and the buildings, and that's the process. From there, I was the president of the International Detailing Association. I represented the industry across the world, and ProntoWash found me and they liked my voice. They liked what I was doing for the industry. They asked me to come and help them. Ultimately, I put a deal together to join, and I was announced as the chairman and CEO. Unfortunately, the gentleman who put that together passed away during COVID, but not from COVID. He had a brain tumor. And right before he passed away, I actually bought the entirety of the ProntoWash brand and was able to help him, his wife, and everything out before he passed away. Then in 2021, I brought international to the US. It was in Latin America. It had moved to Colombia, and I wanted to grow it internationally. I brought it here. We have over 300 locations worldwide. It's a pretty big piece of business. I'll just show you pictures of Kuwait. Like Kuwait's like 2 stories, like it's nuts. And we have a deal right now to do 63 of these in Saudi Arabia, a deal in India and the UK. There's a lot going on, and you guys are also an international company. So there's some definite synergies there. I have a great team. So I've been blessed in my life to have a really great team. I certainly am not a one-man show. Stan Weiss, actually my chief operating officer, he has joined me. I worked for him over 20 years ago. It's kind of fun. But everything that Stan and I did 20 years ago, every system that we built, core mentality of companies existed when he got here. So it's kind of cool. He came up to speed really quick. Jimmy Bornerman, chief information officer. We've worked together for over 12 years now. Kim Hoover, excellent marketing person. So you have a dedicated person and she primarily handles the digital side. She's the one that can get everything connected and make sure that we do everything with Instagram and Facebook. And you'll see video after video. Beyond just me coming out here, there's like all kinds of announcements and things going on today. I'm like, where's Waldo? And Abby, she's bilingual, which is nice because we have a bilingual person in the office there to help folks. And then Nick is a new business development person that we have. And then there's additional people. We have our own marketing company that actually does print and digital. Since we're a franchise company, we provide a lot of services. We're able to customize signage really easily and inexpensively. Anything that you want for a building and you're like, they don't like this or they don't like that, like your personal preferences and things, we can accommodate those really well, more than anybody can. And we can do it really fast. And you guys don't have to pay for those types of things. We always talk about the 3 Ps: people, products, and processes. Our people are really number one. Without them, nothing happens in this world. They go through over 100 hours of training. They're all background checked. You're not going to put somebody on your property that hasn't been through a pretty rigorous process. They wouldn't be allowed at my house. They're not going to be allowed at your house or on your property. We check them for motor vehicle as well as any criminal background. The entirety of the company is licensed, insured, and bonded. And just as a company, we believe in 100% satisfaction. We actually talk internally about totally outrageous service more so. We want people to be blown away about what we do. The product, I always get this, oh my God, how can you clean a car with 16 ounces of water? And the reality is that one of the best things that ProntoWash has ever done, we're really the pioneers for this, what now is called waterless wash. We had a long discussion about it. I'm not the biggest fan of the terminology because we're like, it's what it's become over the years in the industry. It's not waterless, but it's really scientific in what it does. And basically, we're able to mist the vehicle. And nowadays, with compressed air, it goes on beautifully. And the product actually encapsulates the dirt and debris, starts to emulsify it, lifts it off the surface of the car, and we're able to wipe it off with a clean microfiber towel because of this lubrication that it creates. It actually has wax built into it. You actually get a natural wax and a shine. The product is amazing. And now that we've gone to this compressed air application, the thing that I used to do with waterless wash was, well, how are you going to get the rims? How are you going to get in that grate on the grill that's now like this? But with the compressed air, you can get into every little crack and crevice. I can get to your calipers. I can get everywhere, even like that ring around your windows and stuff that just gets that run of nasty stuff. And then we process everything in an eco-friendly way, including the microfiber towels that we use. Services, we talked a little bit. We got rid of the Chinese menu of car wash services. It's not the 900 things. We basically have 5 core services. And it's basically an exterior, which we call an in and out, that with wax. And those are car washing services to us. The next ones are detailing. And there's a super and an ultimate. And basically the super is everything below that with interior carpets and seat shampoo. We blow out, so that air is like the detailer's secret weapon. We use that to blow out all the cracks and crevices in your car and give it that, like, everywhere you look, it's just perfect. You're like, oh my God, how do they do that? You go home, you're jamming the vacuum down in there. We don't do that. And then you get the ultimate. The ultimate is really all of that. And then you have a 3-step process on the exterior of the car. We compound, polish, and wax the exterior. It goes around the car. We actually go around the car 4 times to do that. And there's a clay bar process. I love seeing the menus from other car dealers. Oh yeah, clay bar. You guys know what a clay bar is? No, never heard of it, right? So you want to hear me use terms like that? But it's a special thing that takes off like all that, the oxidation and all the industrial fallout in the air. It takes it off. We do that. We just don't really talk about it. And then there's additional service: car seat cleaning, windshield repellent, headlight restoration, pet hair. And there's different levels of pet hair. You'd be amazed. There's levels of pet hair that I've never thought I'd ever see. We have a lot of other things that we can do. The ceramic, we even go so far as it's a big industry thing right now. It's coatings on vehicles, giving it basically an extra level of clear coat. We have the ability to do that. We have the ability to do that mobily as well. And that protects it from everything. We're going to get into the season of sap and stuff on trees and all that. That protects it from everything. One of the best things that we have that was a real differentiator for it is our key exchange system. And I know there was a question that was going to get presented to me by somebody about what size is it? It actually comes in many sizes. We have different sizes indoors. Is that on your list?
Literally
Jane?
box size.
Hey, all right. They come in different shapes and sizes, which is kind of cool. It really depends on the building and the use and things like that, but they all have the same premise. It's a digital code. You program it yourself when you do it. So you put your code in, and our technician has a master code. He's able to get the keys out. When you come back, it's usually set to the last 4 of your phone, which makes it a little bit easier, and then they send that to you. You can get it in 24/7. We use these at airports, and all over the place. They work really well. And all of it, like everything, even how it works, if it's different in a building, if your building, they enter at they come down a certain elevator to cross, we can customize all of that to make the experience seamless.
Two banks elevators.
Yeah, if you have two banks, north,
But-
south, east,
Did you
the
order
trapeze.
Did you order personal pendant?
No, I
Okay,
don't.
great.
There's a couple different ways that it works, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but the biggest thing I want everyone to understand is really about the flexibility of what we can do. And it's really site specific. I've done over 800 buildings. I've seen all kinds of things. We have airports, we have really complex situations. My job and our team's job is to make it as simple and easy as possible for the end user, your tenant. And we'll help you with that. We'll give you the best advice. And you may have an opinion and we'll talk about it and we'll see what's going to work best for everybody. But ultimately, it's your decision on how it works. But I would definitely trust in the guidance of my team and my operations people. But basically, we have fixed sites. We do a lot of in office buildings, apartments, hotels. Sometimes you have hotels and office buildings with residential. We can work in any environment. We even work with valet. Really, we're one of the best companies for figuring out how to interface with valet. If you have some premium buildings, have valet. That's like not a problem at all for us. And then we even do fleet and wholesale. The scheduling is super easy, like we talked about. The app does all the work. It stores credit cards for you, all securely, PCI compliant, and it alerts you like when your car's being worked on, when your car's finished. If you have to get to a meeting or you got to leave the property, you'll know where your car is in the process at any time. For the buildings, for people to even book, we make it super easy. If this is Texas Tower, this might be text tower to this phone number, and our system has AI built into it. It'll actually sort your people out by that code, walk them through the process of booking, all just even via text. It makes it so easy, and that's why the valet thing works really well. We used to try to interface with valets and have them sell the service. Now we don't do that. They hand them a card. The card has the menu on the back and it has just text this number if you're interested. And then our system, it's powered by AI with people behind it, but it rolls them through it. And if at any point they want to talk to somebody, they can exit. A couple other things. I talked a little bit earlier about centralized customer care, equipment. We supply everything. And then insurance. The biggest thing for us is I've never found an insurance policy that I haven't been able to comply with. Ideally, I don't want to insure everyone and their brother, but I've never found one that I wasn't willing to do for the right property. A good example is Panorama Tower in Miami. It's the largest building on the East Coast outside of New York City. And they had like crazy, the most I've ever seen. And we were able to come to how to figure out how to insure that property for them. And we do that. That's one of the things that usually limits some folks in the industry is they're not able to do that. I mean, that's expensive. It's an expensive option, but with the size of our company and the fact that we back everything, it's not. If you know all those things about it, we can do mobile, we can do key exchange, at least other things like subscriptions. You have residential properties, we can do at night. If people want service overnight, the boss is coming to town tomorrow, they got to pick them at the airport, or the in-laws, so they can do that. It leads to a lot of other different components that make it really neat. And there's different pieces of that I'll share. We can talk about more. The vehicle is the secret weapon. Our vehicles come fully equipped, everything, power, air, that little bit of water that we need to wash the car. So you don't have to worry about like us needing to plug into your buildings. In some cases, it's nice if we're going to have a big building, it's nice to have a carve out of some space. Even if it's just to store some extra products or things like that, we look for that. But again, it may be that if we're downtown, maybe one or two buildings has that, and then the other ones don't need it because I can go across the street and get it.
How much space?
I mean, a
Like
couple
a
parking
corner
spots.
or-
Yeah, a corner, a closet. I'm not picky. Yeah. Sometimes it's nice to actually have a vehicle or even another cart to that we can secure. So we can talk about it. It's pretty easy. Innovation is the next big thing for us. We're working on a couple different things. We do a lot of R&D. We do a lot of product evolution. We have service additions coming. We have brand expansion. You'll see some of that. And then we have a bunch of innovative franchise options that are being launched around the world. One is oil change. So by January of 2023, we'll be able to do oil change. And it's done with the same kind of consciousness. We actually extract the oil. You can extract oil through the dipstick, use a special technology to do that. But did you know that?
No,
Yeah. We don't
Did it
drop.
go and maybe
we-
doesn't believe?
Yeah, we don't drop the oil. We ultimately do take the drain plug
Yeah.
off, but that's not how we get the oil out.
no, right. Like,
So
you can't fit under the vehicle.
now we got all that figured out.
Yeah.
We have air bladder jacks that pick that vehicle up in about a second and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some cool stuff coming. Wait till we do tire change and brakes. Yeah, we have that, but then there's a bunch of ancillary services that are coming, just things, windshield wiper replacements, battery replacements, things that are just inconvenient that people don't want to do, don't want to have to go somewhere to do. There's a lot of that little stuff that's coming that we can do. Like I said, brake service, tires are coming at some point in time, but we have our own brands of products. It's actually going to be a lot of retail focus in the future, which is nice because people will get that same experience. They might go to AutoZone and say, oh, wow, that's the same company that's at my office building. That's neat. And then there's a premium brand of the company that's being launched. It exists already in Boca Raton. It's the nicest mall in probably the United States. We have ProntoWash Elite, but we're launching it in Saudi Arabia at 3 supercar centers. They're going to have 60 regular ProntoWashes and 3 of these Elites. But that brand is available to you guys too. You may find an instance where, you want that, right? You're at a Ritz-Carlton building and you want the Elite, and that has its own product line as well. There's some really cool stuff coming, and the company is built with this kind of infrastructure and presence and mindfulness for the future. We operate like a really nimble startup, even though we've been around for 22 years.
So that Miracle Lotion Elite is actually different products?
Yeah, there's actually 3 levels of Miracle Lotion.
Okay.
And it's just a slightly different product. There's a couple different things that come with supercars and nicer cars with the paint that we know. Matte and different things have different applications. So it's just slightly different, but it's a more premium product. It costs a little bit more to produce. But so that's it. That's like the whole show. Any questions?
Go ahead.
Are you washing in place, or do we need to ask or set up like a designated like parking spaces?
We can wash in place, which is what I like.
Cars on each side.
We have the ability to do that. It just depends on the building. A lot of times, and this is where I don't want to go too far into with the presentation, but we're flexible. We can do that. I wash, I don't know, 100 cars a day in San Francisco airport in place.
Okay.
So
But so do you pull the van up to it? I mean, how do you?
we do. So in San Francisco, I can show you 9,000 pictures of the final shot of my guy taking his finishing pictures, because my guys all use technology themselves to do it. And it's our car is like right behind it. We actually use pretty compact vehicles. And we were talking, we even have scooters, 3-wheeled scooters that can do the service and minimize the footprint. But that's the ideal situation. But it depends though. Depends on your building. It depends on a couple different factors. If you can do it, we like to have a couple spots. If you can't, we make it work in the space that we have. We even have the ability, and this is why I was talking about space. We have the ability to have wash carts like back in the old days. And you get a cart, which I like. That's what we do actually in Panorama. We have a whole floor in Panorama. But it's like the 15th floor. They have the first 2 levels are valet, but we actually have wash carts that can go floor to floor. And it really depends on how tight the parking is and things like that. It's very situational. That's what we assess and that's what we can do. That's why I like to get a little bit of space, because if I can do a cart, it actually saves. It's more economical for me. I can do everything off of a cart. Come on, you get the good ones.
Sorry,
So if you have,
wheels are turning.
you mentioned like the discount for your day. So let's talk about, since we're in Texas, that's my building. That's my main concern right now.
Yeah,
So-
everybody else.
Yeah. So you have a day, but does that mean you can't have the service the other days, or you're?
No,
What does that look like?
we get what it's like to have that guy that has 3 floors in the building, or maybe half the
Right.
building, or the whole building. They get what they want. It's really up to you as whoever the property manager is defines what we're allowed to do at the end of the day.
Sure.
What we do is we try to steer them towards the day.
Yeah, which volume I get it.
Yeah.
Yep.
When that guy calls and wants his car washed on Friday, guess what? We ship people out. Especially again, you're talking about a cityscape environment. It's
Right.
easy. I'm gonna have vehicles all over the place. It's easy to pop over and just do 1 or 2 vehicles. But ideally, we push them all towards the day.
How many vehicles are in Houston?
In Houston right now, this is like a corporate initiative that we're gonna.
Okay, it's in Houston.
Well, we aren't. We were in the Woodlands. I have a franchisee in the Woodlands
Okay.
that struggled through COVID and got to deal with. Yeah,
It's
like, essentially evaporated, but my biggest operators are here. I have like my longest person is in Austin. 2 of my executives, my lead operations training person and my old chief operating officer before Stan, are both Texas based. Texas is a big focus of ours. One of the reasons we should talk, like we already operate in Austin, we're down the street. And I have currently what's happening is I have franchises going in around the city. But right now, this, like the city, we're going to keep as a corporate location. It's going to be part of a master agreement for the city of Houston. That's where we're at. And then the next question is, well, how soon can you start? Right?
Yep.
I've never done this one. Yeah,
I had no idea.
like I told Cassie, I mean, in 2 weeks I can have my team here because it's a corporate event. It's not like it's gonna do any franchise stuff. Literally, we bring in the team, we bring in the vehicles. I mean, I have vehicles down the street in Austin. I'm gonna be in Austin tomorrow. I can literally launch in as early as 2 weeks. It usually takes you guys a little bit longer than it takes me. But again, I already know your agreements. I'm already familiar. I've actually signed one of them, right, guys? Yeah.
The annexation.
Yes, again, we're pretty easy.
So you have key boxes ready to be installed into the building, and the base is, I saw 6 slots.
Six is
that
like what,
base?
yeah, 6 is like what we usually look at. But again, it depends on what you're doing. Your executive level might need a 4 box. Like, a lot of times you guys have 2 floors below. And
Yeah, we have,
Right.
separate.
You know,
garage.
it depends. 6 is a good base, I think. But I mean, I have ones that are 24. It depends on really the volume. And then so this is also interesting. You don't need as many boxes. But airports, we have a key drop box and then we return the keys because we know when they're coming back. They're not all coming back. So why have their keys? The guy's gone for 2 weeks and he's occupying a box.
Yeah.
Again, there's like things we've learned over time. So it's really about occupancy in the building, how many cars, how many parking spots, how many days a week. And just because you're on one day doesn't mean one day, it could be
Yeah.
multiple days, Tuesday, Thursday. A big building like this will probably be 5 days a week. Ultimately, as your occupancy
Yeah.
goes up, we're flexible like that too. But it's also nice, even when you start, to kind of push them to a day, because then it gets them thinking about it.
Sure.
And it gives us an event. So we like to come and do a meet and greet. We like to come and set up a table and give away coffee and donuts and talk to people and discounts and raffles and all that kind of fun stuff we do all the time. Every month we'll give away a free service. You'll be able to like promote that. That can go in a newsletter. It can go out to the tenants. It can be used, and then you get some extra perks too. So you don't know what to do for that one tenant that you just can't make happy. Well, like you can give them a call.
All of our
Yeah.
tenants are happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it.
You're out of
That's
question.
it.
Do we have any issues with oil changes? I know we have issues with gas fill up.
Yes, I learned
Do
that.
we have issues with oil?
We've done oil change before. We
Okay.
did it at 609.
Yeah, I think-
In place,
717,
in place.
In place. They
Okay.
brought a van, but they went under during COVID.
Um,
It was Houston only.
Okay.
local company.
Yeah, in place is tough with oil. I would move. Like you'd have to have dedicated space for oil. You just need room to get these. Like they're
Yeah.
not large.
No,
they're these
I mean,
ladder
I meant
on
on site.
site. Pretty cool. Yeah, it's neat.
So I definitely think for reserve VIP in place for sure. Unreserved could be in place, or we could have a designated space.
Well, some of the things to think about is we're not opposed to, they leave their car wherever it is. The way that I look at it in one scenario is it depends on how they get into the building and stuff is what really matters. Because if there's a common place that they're coming into the building, like through a lobby or through thing, well, then somewhere between the parking and that is where you want to strategically place the key exchange.
Yeah.
If you're down on that other level and they're going to an elevator, and even if they have 2 floors, the thing that I would say is if they have 2 floors and they're executives, put 2 key exchanges, like they don't have to worry about it. But if you have these other floors where you're servicing 6 or 8 floors, all they have to do is tell us what floor their car's. Hey, I parked on 6.
Is that in the app or?
Yeah, there's a whole separate field in the app.
And you'll just walk around. beep, beep, beep,
Yeah, exactly.
beep, beep,
Never done that before. Yeah.
Find the car.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. So if someone didn't put in the floor they're in.
Well, I mean, I do that every day. I can't remember what floor. I parked
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
You'll be more conscious of it if you're actually going to be telling somebody to go to your car. At the end of the day, when you're dealing with it,
Yeah.
that's different.
yeah, I think when we go this route, it's obviously a walk with you and the property. And
Always.
You're the pro and show us everything, because this one's a little complicated with, but like, I know you dealt with it, but it's a split lobbies. We have different and split garages as well, and so maybe it's a multiple.
North is in north and south is in south. I heard.
Yeah, I told him that it's funny.
This building is turned 45 degrees. so it's
Right.
Different garage.
Yeah.
There are ways around it, but we could do the multiple.
North-ish.
kiosks.
Right.
That's the thing.
It's more
So,
north than
yeah,
south.
okay. Number one, you get a little like extra, right? Because this is like the mothership. You kind of get whatever you want.
I like to hear that.
Um,
Where do we sign?
Yeah, that's it. That literally usually is like the end of the meeting is usually when do we start? It's literally like that.
I think key drop location, I think that tenant services corridor is a fine space. I mean, everybody has to pass through the lobby. I know if you're on the north side, I guess it's inconvenient.
side.
Yeah.
Well, however, yeah, you know what I mean? Like I'm telling you, just let us see it. Let us see it. We'll take pictures.
People are just gonna swing in, drop it off, and then come back and pick it up.
Well, that's why I like the tenant services corridor, because it's accessible. If someone's leaving at 6 PM and the management office is closed,
Yeah.
then they can still get to that. But I was thinking for VIP or reserve, maybe we have
In their own
slots.
elevator.
Uh-huh,
space,
yeah. That might be
Yeah.
nice, more convenient for them, a lot of added,
And since there's only two.
Yeah.
It's not
well, there's,
8 floors like the other,
yeah, it's 2 floors, but 4 lobbies.
the compounding effect.
So how does it work? Do you put in, you drop off your keys, does it give you an estimated time that it'll be completed?
So if we're working a building, we like to try to stretch it to give us time to juggle the services. But if you have a certain time, that you need it back, that's a question that's in there. We like to say, we'd like to have your car.
Yeah,
All
It's,
day, but if you need it by.
yeah,
Yeah, you put
Tell
it
us.
one.
Yeah.
You'll prioritize that one.
absolutely.
And it's cost neutral or it's it for us.
Yes.
For you guys,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we put in the expense of.
Yeah, that's, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty neat though, when you see it like happening. Another thing is like, one of the things that a lot of times other folks have problems with is the volume. Sometimes they can be busy. We watch all that. We see our scheduling going into the day. We know what our manpower plan is. And the beauty is, if it's gonna be busy, we can just deploy more vehicles and more people. We add a person to the vehicle, and I don't know why 1 and 1 does not equal 2, but you do not get twice the capacity out of that. And then we add another, you can do a lot, like we were talking about, even with the carts. A building like this might have a couple carts on site that are, just there to, we can flex.
Do you have a vehicle in Texas that if we wanted to just try it out? I'm just wondering if you brought the vehicle, parked it in front of the vehicle of the car, how does that work as far as people getting around it and flow and that kind of stuff? So it might be good to just see it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, and right now, because we're not a full garage, it's pretty easy to move stuff around, but we have to look at it.
Well,
Just
and I know
yeah.
from previous times of doing this, sometimes people don't like their car being moved, or people that are parked next to you don't like the fact that there's somebody there working around because they're like, they keep bumping into my car. And so, especially in reserve garage, you can, I've had multiple times where people have said, this person's been sitting on my car because they're cleaning the car next to them, or this, that, or the other thing. And so I wish there was the right answer or an easy, sometimes people are like, I don't want you to move it, but then the people next to them are like, oh, I don't want you standing around my car.
Yeah.
And so you
But you
just
also
come.
can't not have a car.
Right,
moved,
right,
so-
yeah, yeah. so,
Yeah,
yeah.
Right.
And the reason
Yeah.
why I asked about the time is we've had multiple times where a person calls panic, like I need my car and I can't get the person, I don't have my keys, I can't find my keys, and the person went to lunch or whatever. And so it's okay, well,
Well, it's funny. I always talk about the one thing is you don't have like my sweaty technician like up in your pacing out in front of your door, like as you're in a meeting, he's like this trying to get paid. It used to be like that. I remember it. So just the technology, just like you get a buzz on your phone, like, your car's done.
Yeah.
You could communicate. One of the biggest challenges we have is in Dallas. God, I forget what the name of that building is, but it's City Place, where it's got like thousands of parking spots, but it's in a bunker. I think it probably was built by the government for a bunker, but it's so down and dense in there that like your communication is a problem. So we actually had a hard line installed when we were there.
okay.
So there's things that we'll do, but like our tech communication is really good. And like they can even, which is kind of cool. If they find a stain in your seat or a scratch on your car, they can actually take a picture of it, communicate to you, hey, we noticed you have a stain in your back seat. You want us to get that out for you. There's some cool stuff that happens with the technology because our technicians, they have to go through a whole checklist before and after pictures, all these different things to make sure that it kind of protects all of us. So that's really neat. And then the customer gets their last one is like the money check. It's like,
Right.
here's your clean car. Come whenever you get a chance. But again, if you ever want to move the vehicles, or just whenever you think about that, just understand if you're going to move vehicles, just give us 2 spots.
Right.
Because car full doors open takes up 2 spots.
So we could designate 2 spaces.
2
Well-
spots is the,
Yeah, I already know where we can designate 3 spaces, but
that's
um,
perfect, actually. 3 gets me.
I was just
Two
thinking in my mind, like on all the floors, there's that kind of, yep, and then there's those
Space.
3, right, where
Oh, yeah.
everybody hits the ball.
Every parking deck has this weird space.
Yeah.
That's like usually my favorite space to like be like, oh my God, can I use that?
I mean, we could designate that space for, not that space, but like a corner on one of the floors on Tuesdays, it's
Yeah.
car washing. And then that kind of alleviates that no one's moving your car. And then also
Yeah.
the person who parks next to you is also getting a car wash. So it's impossible that they don't want someone washing a car next to them.
So would there be a space in the upper garage and the lower garage for that?
So I'm thinking VIP is just wash and place. I know that doesn't solve our issue
Yeah,
for
well,
that,
no, it
but
might. So, yeah, I mean, I just haven't gone through this. I've seen it both ways.
No,
And then you have the other issue is I don't want someone else driving my car, so I'll drive it to you. But if you're a reserve garage, it doesn't work in the upper garage. Or if you're
Well, or you're too far away. It takes me 3 minutes to get up there.
right.
Yeah, for reserved, in my mind, the 2 EV charging spaces that don't work, you can use those for car washing. Done. Solves 2 issues.
Mhm.
Feeds 2 birds with 1 seed. So then you have in the unreserved parking garage.
Is that
we
the
have-
new way to say
No,
that? Like the
I'm against
PC?
animal violence.
Is that the new PC? thing?
No,
Millennial thing?
That's
Yeah, write that one down.
So then there's that corner that you could have on 4. That's not too far away, but it's a little bit up 5, 6, I don't know, not 8, I guess, it's too
Yeah.
far, I agree. But then there's those 3 spaces where they could have a vehicle there, right? Those 3 spaces that nobody likes
Yeah.
to park in because they always hit a bollard. And then
Those are my favorite space.
you always park there, actually. Yeah, you haven't hit a bollard yet.
Okay, you gotta tell me when we're walking the garage.
Anyway, I think that can be possible for,
And you're saying they would just use those spaces, so they would move the vehicle from wherever it is in the garage to those spaces?
I'm saying if I'm getting a car wash, I know I'm gonna
Right.
park here and it'll be,
Oh.
But if that's the
Well, you
case, then you
multiple
can
of
only
those?
have that many cars per day. You know what I mean?
Well, but do you have multiples of those? I mean, because what could happen? Are they on multiple floors? Every floor. That could be where we wash the car. We could put a reserves thing and pull the car, clean it, put it back. That's easy too.
And it's only reserved for that car wash day or something.
No, it's reserved while we're cleaning the car.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take your car from where you parked it. We're gonna go to that spot on that floor, clean it, and we're gonna put it back.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's many
Yeah.
ways. So we'll walk in.
So that concludes the presentation. But as you notice, by the end of it, the real answer is when do we start? And then we have to go and walk the facility. We just need to understand the operational parameters that we need to consider, look at marketing opportunities, days of the week to operate, make a few decisions, and ultimately we're ready to go. So I look forward to meeting you and seeing your building or having one of my operations folks come over and make that final operation assessment with you. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Have a wonderful day. I look forward to working with you.